too small to care about anyone's business but their own. And as I stood there watching, I saw two barefoot kids in the middle of the square, just soaking up the worst of what folks could dish out. A boy, maybe 12, face smeared with dust, and a little girl, couldn't have been more than 6, clutching his hand like if she let go, she'd fall clear through the earth. Their clothes were almost a joke, his shirt hanging off him, sleeves rolled and threadbare, her dress once white, now just the color of old regret. Her curls stuck to her cheeks, lips cracked from the sun, holding a scrap of a doll's dress like it could still bring back better days. You could see she believed in that scrap more than she believed in anyone here. The boy, Eli Turner, was staring down the crowd, jaw locked like he'd swallow gravel before he'd cry in front of these people. Someone had thrown a crust of bread at him, but not out of charity. "Get out of here, rats," a shopkeeper barked, like the sound of his own voice was payment enough. "Heard the fever took their folks," someone else snickered. "Good riddance." Next thing you know, a rock flies and hits Eli square in the ribs. He grunts, doesn't flinch, just squeezes his sister's hand tighter. "Eli, I'm scared." "I got you," he whispered, barely loud enough for her. "Don't let go. Parents gone. Disease took them 2 weeks back, buried quick and quiet off the trail west." The wagon train rolled on, and these kids, well, nobody had room for them. "You're the man now," his pa had said. "Keep her safe. But out here, water cost more than your name, and folks weren't any kinder than the coyotes." And then, just as the laughter started up again, everything stopped, like the air went out of the day. You could hear boot steps, slow and heavy, cutting through the dust. Jed Colton. Folks called him the ghost of Silver Run. He looked like he could chew iron and spit out nails, wide brim hat shading his eyes, revolver on his hip, lasso over his shoulder. Used to ride with the Rangers back when that meant something. But he'd lost his family, and the grief had driven him out here. Nobody's friend, nobody's fool. Jed stopped right in front of Eli and Sadie. "What in hell do you all think you're doing?" Silence. Not a soul would meet his eyes. "You proud of yourselves? Throwing crumbs at kids, laughing while they starve." The shopkeeper blustered. "We didn't mean nothing by it, Jed. Just, so that earns them a stoning, huh?" Jed's voice could cut glass. He looked at the kids. "Where's your folks?" "Dead," Eli replied, flat as a fence post. "You got any kin?" "No, sir." Jed knelt, eye to eye with Sadie. "You hungry?" She nodded. Eli just shook his head. "We ain't begging. We'll work. We pay back what we eat." Jed didn't smile, but something in him eased up. "You ever muck stalls?" "Yes, sir." "Chop wood?" "Yes, sir." Jed stood. "Then you're coming with me, both of you." Gasps went through the crowd. Someone tried to argue, but Jed turned on them. "You want to tell me what I can't do?" Nobody did. Eli glanced at Sadie. She nodded, trusting him with her life, and they followed Jed out of the square, leaving that bitter silence behind. Jed's ranch was a couple miles west, tucked between hills. Not much, but it was solid. A house, barn, a few chickens, a black mare tied up under a lean-to. Sadie's eyes drank it in, but Eli stayed quiet, always on guard. Jed handed them water, real bread, a blanket for Sadie, an old leather coat for Eli. "Don't call it charity," he grumbled. "It's an investment." "Yes, Jed." They ate slow. Eli split every piece in half, gave the bigger one to his sister. Inside, Jed showed them a room, one bed, but clean. "You'll work for your keep. No free rides." "We will," Eli promised. That night, Eli sat by the window, listening to Jed moving around in the next room. He didn't know what would come next. But, for the first time since the fever, he wasn't scared to close his eyes. Dawn split the night with a rooster's cry. Eli was up before anyone, mind worrying. He watched Sadie sleep. Cheeks finally pink, her grip on that ragged doll dress relaxed. Jed, up already, poured black coffee, handed Eli a mug. "There's a first time for everything." The taste was awful. The sun was sharp, chores done. Jed hammered a loose board on the fence, eyed Eli. "Saddle's loose on the mare. Think you can fix it?" "Yes, Jed." Eli's face lit up for the first time in weeks. That night, they sat on the porch. Jed played a slow tune on his harmonica. Wasn't pretty, but it felt true. Sadie laid her head on Eli's shoulder. "Is this home now?" she asked. Eli thought about it. "Maybe it can be." A week passed, each day a little easier. Eli got the hang of ranch work. Sadie's laughter crept back. Jed found himself talking more at supper, lamp left on in the hall just in case. But trouble always finds its way. One day, the sheriff from Dry Creek, Bright Ton, rode up. Heard you took in orphans. Jed stared him down. You planning to file with the judge? Some folks say you snatched them. Might not be right. Jed's jaw went hard. You accusing me? No, just giving you the courtesy. Anything happens to those kids, I'll know who to blame. After the sheriff left, Eli stood on the porch, clutching the water bucket. You ain't going anywhere, Jed said. Not unless you want to. I don't. Then we'll handle it. A few days later, while Jed was in town talking to the judge, a man with red hair and mean eyes showed up at the gate, hand on his knife. Heard a fella out here's harboring orphans, he sneered. You need to leave. That's so? Maybe I'll wait. Eli's hand found the pitchfork. You take one step closer. The man just grinned, tipped his hat, walked away. Eli hugged Suddy tight. I won't let anything happen to you. Jed returned at sundown, face tight. Man came by. Didn't do anything. Just waited. Jed nodded, jaw like stone. The judge had said, if Jed wanted guardianship, he had to prove stability, land, money, proper home. If not, the kids would be sent to a workhouse, separated. Eli's heart dropped. No, we ain't letting that happen, Jed promised. So they worked, fixing fences, tending livestock. Suddy reading by lamplight. Got to show them we're a real family, Jed said, even if it ain't by blood. One night, a storm shook the house. Suddy ran crying to Jed, who sat her in the rocker, humming an old lullaby. Eli stood in the doorway, feeling, what was it, safe, for the first time in years. A week later, a carriage rolled in, 2 men, city suits. They poked through everything. Questioned Jed, tested the kids' reading. When they left, Jed said, they might say no. Eli looked up, voice trembling. But you're the only real thing we've got. Jed nodded. Then we fight together. Days passed, nerves raw. Finally, the men returned. You've proven land ownership. Home is stable. But some say you're unstable. You're past. Your isolation, maybe it ain't best for children. Jed squared up. You mean because I buried my family, rebuilt from nothing, opened my door when your town threw stones? Those kids are safer here than anywhere you got. May we speak to them? Jed called Eli and Suddy out. The man asked, is Mr. Colton good to you? Suddy whispered, he reads to us at night. Lets me help in the garden. Eli said, he saved us when nobody else would. He didn't have to, but he did. If the court said you had to leave? Suddy's eyes filled. No. We wouldn't go, Eli said. The men left. For 2 days, the house hung heavy. Then, a letter. Jed read it twice, voice shaking. They approved it. You're mine now. Legally, if you'll have me. Eli stepped forward. We already did. That night they feasted, salt pork, beans, neighbor's pie, laughter echoing off the porch. In the months that followed, the ranch thrived. Eli grew strong. Suddy's laughter was everywhere. Jed's house was full. One golden evening, Eli asked, you think Ma and Pa can see us? Jed looked to the sky. If there's any justice, I reckon they can. And they'd be proud. Yeah, me too. Because sometimes family isn't who you're born to. It's who stands up for you when no one else will. But let me ask you, after everything you've heard, what would you have done? Where does justice really live, in the law or in the heart? You tell me.